वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन ब्रजजनरंजन यशोदानंदन ब्रजजनरंजन यमुना तीरवनचारी यमुना तीरवनचारी हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 रामा राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 रामा राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 रामा राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jayo Radha Gokulananda, Radha Gokulananda, Radha Gokulananda, Shri Radhe. Jayo Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman, Jayo Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman. Jayo Gauranitai, 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 Jayo Gauranitai. Jayo Prabhupada, 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 Jayo Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna, everyone. So today we are going to read chapter 18, verse 14. Adhishthanam tatha karta, karanam cha prithag vidham, vividhascha prithak cheshta, daivam chaivatra panchamam. Translation by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The place of action, the body, the performer, the various senses, the many different kinds of endeavor, and ultimately the super soul. These are the 5 factors of action. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Thank you, my dear devotees, to come today. It's been a wonderful and a beautiful sunny day. It's lovely. So today we are going to do chapter 18, verse 14. Before going to my verse, I'm going to set the context now. So chapter 18 starts from Arjuna's question regarding sannyasa and tyaga. And this becomes the seed for the entire chapter. Then the Lord progresses by giving opinions of other learned people, scholars. And in 18.4 he says, now you listen to my opinion. From 18.7, the Lord talks about sannyasa in 3 modes of material nature. So Tamasa Sannyasa, Rajasa Sannyasa, and Satvika Sannyasa, which is 18:7, 8, and 9. Then from 1810 to 1812, the Supreme Lord Krishna glorifies, talks about the glories of the Satvika Sannyasa. Ultimately, the Supreme Lord equated sannyasa and tyaga is equal to renunciation. So now, in the next 5 verses, he is going to explain that how an action is done. Who is the doer of the action? Coming to my verse, so the Lord in detail explains that there are 5 kinds of doer, or for an action to be performed or completed, there are 5 factors. So the 5 factors that influence an action is, number 1, adhishthanam. Adhishthanam is the place of action, which is the body. So the Lord is speaking about the fact that you have a place of action that's happening in the body, and body therefore becomes the most important thing. Body is also called kshetra. So in 13.3, 13th chapter, the Lord says, kshetra, kshetragnyor jnanam, yattaj jnanam matam mama. Knowledge means knowing matter and soul. But what are we taught in today's education is only about matter. Material success, a big house, a big car, that's what matters. As though anything to do with spirit becomes spiritual or religions, so we need to keep that away. And this is the very big blunder done by our educational system, because we only end up learning about matter and it is not full knowledge. But the moment we start reading Bhagavad Gita, when Krishna starts the Bhagavad Gita by explaining the difference between the soul and the body, which is very fundamental and foundational for anybody to understand anything. And if we actually analyze, material knowledge is always changing. Yeah? The doctors, they always have to study in order to keep up with new diseases. They have to always study new drugs which are in the market. Computer technology is always changing. Like when I was young, the Apple started and now it is Apple 16. I think by the time I hit 60 or 70, I think Apple will be Apple 50. Similarly, when growing up, Pluto wasn't planet. When I studied the solar system in 9 planets, but now my children are studying and they say it is only 8 planets and Pluto is no longer existent. So see, things are changing. Material things are always changing. But the moment we read Bhagavad Gita, we may learn new things because of our own deeper realization. But the fundamental point of who you are, what is this body made of, never changes. So it is very important to have an understanding of soul. So just to put it in a simpler terms, so basically we are consciousness, and this consciousness, in order to interact and transact, it requires a medium. It requires a body. And this is to understand that I am consciousness. Krishna tries to explain in many ways, and the chapter 2 is dedicated. It starts with Veda Vinashinam Nityam Yan Yaha Enam Ajam Avyayam. And the self-knowledge is to understand the difference between the soul and the body. And once I understand this difference, then we have to start identifying ourselves with the Atma, the soul part, and gradually we need to dissociate or disidentifying with the body or matter part. So why should I not identify with body anymore? Or why should I disassociate with body? The reason that we know is this body is not permanent part of me. Just as a dress I can only use for some time and I have to discard it. Similarly, this body is also, I'm allowed probably for few years, for some decades, depending upon the prarabdha. Thereafter, I have to return it back to its source. For if I am attached too much with this body, it will lead to suffering. Because no matter what, how much ever I color my hair, the graying is going to happen. How much ever I apply the anti-wrinkle creams, the growing will definitely happen. Have you noticed that? There are so many creams and color which are available in the market, and the entire advertising industry is based on the fact they want to keep you young. But when does the truth hits you? In the evening when you climb up the stairs to go up the bed, you know that you are old because even the climbing the stairs becomes very difficult. So the reality is different and we need to understand that. So it is very important to know the difference between these two parts, which is the body and soul. Supreme Lord Krishna continues to say in chapter 3, Prakrite kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvasha ahankara vimudhatma kartaham iti manyate. So ahankara means your false ego. Ahankara vimudha, it bewilders. What? Atma, it bewilders. So this ahankar, this false ego, it just bewilders your soul. And what does it bewilders? How does it bewilders? Because it understands, it thinks that I am the doer. It says, Karta aham iti manyate. It believes that I am the doer. So the soul, which is bewildered by the false ego, thinks that he does. Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport, Karta aham iti manyate, in which Karta means proprietor or the master. But he is not the master because of the influence of the three modes of the material nature. He is feeling that I am the master. I am the bhokta, and this is a trouble. So this understanding that I am master and I am going to enjoy, it is troublesome. Why is this concept trouble? Because the moment you think I am karta and I am bhokta, according to our Supreme Lord Krishna, you are a samsari. You will be, samsari means you will be in this material world. You will be constantly be in the material world if you are thinking about this. So what is karta? Karta means doer. Yeah? And as a doer, as a karta, I'm actually never perfect. I'm never satisfied by any of my action. We are always constantly thinking, I could have done this better. I could have got this job done in a better way than him. We are always thinking, right from the 2 marks which I didn't score in my physics paper, I could have got the 2 marks that time, easily. Or right from our marriage, or even to the thinking that these days, marriage doesn't even stay. The divorce rates have gone up so much high. So it is like we are constantly thinking what could have gone better. And what happens? When the old age hits, you start dissecting your past. Your past comes and you start thinking, oh, why did I raise my children like this? Or why did I do this? Or why did I behave this time at that time? and you are soon engulfed in guilt. Isn't it? That doesn't happen. We always think, I should always improve myself and better. Even as an enjoyer, as a bhokta, I can never be relaxed. Why? Because I do not know which karma phalam is going to hit me when. So basically my life, which is governed promiscuously broadly by my prarabdha karma to a great extent, and no doubt I have a free will under this influence of three modes of material nature, all of a sudden this invisible karma phalam comes and hits you. When? What will happen next? I do not know. Whom I am going to meet? So many times you go and in the temple, unexpected people you meet, isn't it? Or even to the extent whether I'm going to get up today. So this life as a karta and bhokta is constantly riddled in form of a guilt of the past or anxiety of the future. So basically, we as human beings, we are not at all perfect. We think we are, but we are not. Shastra says, by inherently, the human beings are born with basic 4 defects. So we are born with, it is already manufacturing defect. We are born with 4 defects. What are the 4 defects? We have imperfect senses. Like we are dependent on glasses, isn't it? We don't even have our eyesight vision 6x6. We have cheating propensity. We have a propensity to cheat. Not only others, we cheat ourselves also, isn't it? When something goes wrong, you try to hide and we try to convince ourselves, no, you were right. In the mind, we always think like that. Then we are always in an illusion. Always the grass is greener on the other side. So there is always an illusion, that a comparison. And we tend to commit mistakes, isn't it? To err is human. We tend to commit mistakes. So basically we are imperfect beings. So what is the solution? To surrender to the all-perfect person who is the Supreme Lord Krishna. So it is best to change your loyalty from this temporary perishable body to permanent imperishable soul. And how do you do that? For this purpose, we have to feed our soul. Just as we eat in order to fill up our stomach and basically nourish the material body, similarly, we have to feed our soul every single day with Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Engaging ourselves in the process of devotional service. We have to perform Shravanam, Kirtanam. Shravanam of whom? Of the person whose Janma Karma Cha Me Divyam. Whose Janma, whose birth, and whose Karma, whose all activities has been Divyam. They are transcendental, which means when we read and when we hear about the pastimes of Shri Krishna, his Janma and Karma are so transcendental. It helps you to transcend from this material world. Therefore, one should perform their daily practice. Do your sadhana, do your chanting rounds, do your devotional service, because it will help you. It will help you initially with what? It will help you that with the idea that I am this consciousness, which is not confined to this body, but we are pervading this body. And even after the death of the body, I continue to survive. And I continue to survive, and by Krishna's grace, if I go back, I continue to serve him. I am the servant of the Supreme Lord Krishna, because that is my constitutional position. So the first is to know the difference between the body and the matter, then you shift your identity towards the soul and you shift your loyalty. Just change the trajectory mark towards the soul. Now coming to today's verse, Adhishthanam tatha karta karanam cha prithak vidam. Adhishthanam, it is the place of action. So, where does the action occurs? It is this body. Karta, he is a performer, a doer. So, who is the performer doer? The soul. Karanam cha prithak vidham. So, the various senses. So, we have only learned we have 5 sense organs, whereas our Shastras, Bhagavad Gita says we have more than 5. We have Jnanendriyas, we have Karmendriyas, and we have mind. So, all these factors. Then 4th factor, Vividha cha prithak cheshta. Cheshta, which is your own endeavor. And the ultimate, the 5th, Daivam chaivatra panchamam. Daivam. Who is the Daivam here? The super soul, which is residing in you. Normally, generally, we trend to take credit for everything, right? Be it in workplace. We don't even want to share it with our team members. If 2 people are doing the project, the other person will say, I did it. We don't want to give the credit to the other person who is doing. So mostly people think, body is doing, I am endeavoring through my senses. I have a great brain, I'm very intelligent. I saw these things with my own eyes. I did it with my hands and my body is working. This is what generally everybody perceive. So generally people take only 3 factors into consideration towards an action, which is body, senses, and effort. Then they generally forget the soul, and super soul though doesn't have even a place in it. Sometimes they will go to the extent they will call someone from outside because they want God's blessing, but they don't want God, they just want his blessing. And they will go to the extent that they will factor that outside person, but not the super soul. So the fact is, it is said that you may put in 100% of your effort. Yeah? You may put in 100% of your effort, thinking it to be your own. But in the grand scheme of scale, in the grand scheme of things, your 100% is equated only to 20%. And rest is 80% is dependent on the Lord. So let me repeat this. This is a very important principle for every action, every work we perform. Even though you may be putting 100% of your effort, through your senses, through your body, you may be thinking it is 100%. But in the grand scheme of scale, how this material nature, how everything's work, the 100% is equated only to 20%, and 80% is dependent on whom? The Supreme Lord. So the Lord basically here is saying, the ultimate factor is me. So what is the function of super soul in the body? So firstly, super soul always accompanies the soul. Vedas speak about 2 birds sitting on a tree. One bird, the individual soul. Yeah? So there are 2 birds sitting on a tree. I want you to all visualize. One bird, Shri Radha Gokulanand ki Jai. They look brilliant in this today's color combination and lovely sunny day. So, yeah, Jai. So 2 birds are sitting on a tree. One is the individual soul eating the fruits of the tree. And the other is the super soul, our Supreme Lord Krishna. He's simply witnessing the action of the other bird. Srila Prabhupada further writes in the purport, and he says, one is the master and the other is the servant. And forgetfulness of this relationship by the soul is the cause for one's changing his position from one tree to another, from one body to another. So such a significant principle is this. It actually tells you why you have got this body, why I am. The super soul fulfills the desire of the soul as one friend fulfills the desires of another. Krishna says, Suhridam sarva bhutanam gyatvam mam shantim richati. Suhridam, I am the well-wisher friend of everybody. By knowing me, you will become peaceful. Upadrishta anumanta cha bharta bhokta maheshwara paramatmeti chapi yukto dehesmin purusha para. In this verse, it clearly says, dehesmin purusha para. Dehesmin. Inside this deha, yeah, dehesmin. There is whom? There is purusha para. There is a supreme person. So what is the business of this supreme person, the super soul whom we are talking about? His business is upadrishta. He is witnessing everything that soul does. And anumanta, he sanctions it, then only it happens. It is like in a household, yeah? Just imagine little Narayana here comes from school thinking, today I'm going to play video game, Fortnite, yay! And the moment daddy walks in, homework. Come on, you have not done your homework. Isn't it? The plans are ruined. So the daddy's position is super soul basically. He doesn't sanction everything. So coming back to the topic, the 5 factors that make work action happen, your body. First is body. Second, body is adhishthanam. Second, your identity, your soul. So basically depending on your identity, yeah, as a doctor. So then you will have certain intention. Like if you are a chef, like a teacher, like I'm a chef, my intentions in the morning is like what I'm going to cook, what is this, and my planning happens. So basically, your identity modulates your intention. Then the third is the instrument, which are the senses and the various things we gather. Fourth is the effort, the actual effort you put in. And fifth is Daivam, the super soul. When all this 4 comes together with the 5th element, then only the things happen. So imagine, I'm going to share some examples. So imagine there is a truck parked. Then I tie a rope at the back side of the truck and I tie that rope in my waist. Now I want to pull this truck. Then all of a sudden a driver comes. He puts a reverse gear. Then what happens? The truck comes towards me. As the truck starts coming towards me, I start saying, I pulled the truck. So am I pulling the truck? No. I'm just placing my hands on the rope. So there is another energy which is pulling now. Now, the driver puts first gear and he takes the truck forward. I'm putting 100% effort from the back. I'm holding the rope. I'm still holding the rope and the rope is in my hand. But I don't have the power. And now, the moving truck also drags me. It is also dragging me. Then I start crying out, oh my God, I am defeated, I am lost. So this thinking of I pulled the truck or I am lost, that is Maya. That is the illusion. The Maya means which is not. So when the driver was not there, in actuality, when the driver was not there in the truck, I didn't have the power anyways. When the driver puts the reverse gear, brought the truck near me, I didn't have the power then. Then the truck started moving forward. I tried to stop, but I didn't have the power. So the idea is, we do have little bit power, assuming in this world only to do things in limited capacity. There is another lovely example in a broader way I would like to explain how this whole thing works. So we are the jiva, and the jiva is the desirer. So we desire, and you have to remember, we are the controller only in terms of desire. So we have to be very careful of what we desire for, because we are the controller of this desire, and based on this desire only the things goes forward. So I desire that I want to type a Word document, yeah, and based on that I type on a computer. Then the computer processes it. Then I desire I want to print. But I have to press the print button, and the computer has to be connected with the printer. So what the Supreme Lord as Paramatma Super Soul does is, he processes our desire. Yeah? It is like, I want to raise this hand. I want to raise this hand now. Now what will science say? I'm giving indication, my brain, and it is lifting. But no. I want to lift this hand, and the Super Soul is saying that at this date, at this particular time, does this person have a sufficient karma to fulfill this desire of what? Raising hand. And he says yes. If then only based on the sanction, the material energy in turns, the nature gives us the power, then I am able to lift up the hand. This is what our Shastra is saying. But maybe in future time, we may have the desire, we may have the body, we may have the senses, we may have the effort, but we may not have the sanction to fulfill it. I may not be able to raise hand. Isn't it how old age works? Have you seen so many people? They have all the physiological, they want to do, but are they able to do? Many people often say, oh, I'm very young from mind, but my body is giving up. Why? Because body is aging. So now if I look at the printer and say print, print, or shout at the printer, print, is it going to print? No. There is something between me and the printer which is needed to be connected. So I am the jiva who desires, but the processor in the computer is the Supreme Lord. So he needs to process that information, and I am able to print. So once again, I'm reiterating the fact, the 5 factors which are needed for an action to be completed is our body, our senses, our effort, the soul, and above all, the super soul. So what is so far, so we have learned? So it is very, very important to dissociate ourselves from matter, because more we associate ourselves with body, all you will be doing is spending money, time, effort, either going to beauty parlor, buying new clothes. It is not going to. You may look good, but it is all going to go waste. But now I'm not saying this that you should not take care of your body. If you are so much stressed, you need to meditate, you need to jog. But why? Because this is the body which is the via medium through which you understand what souls is, and you have to use this body to go back to Godhead as well. So the understanding shift is very, very, very much required here. So Super Soul is the Supreme Lord, and this understanding that Super Soul is the Supreme Lord, who is our dear friend. So now I keep on saying that, the Lord is our dear friend. Why? How? Because what does a good friend do? When you meet your good friend, they come and help you. When you are in distress, they help you in every way possible. Isn't it? That's what a good friend does. Here, Krishna is also helping us via the teachings of Bhagavad Gita. All we have to do is to take and understand how this material nature is made, what is this world consist of, and how we have to align our interests with the Supreme Lord Krishna so that we can transcend this material ocean and go back to Him. It is very important to have real knowledge, because that will only bring in the shift in our thinking, that who is your best friend and who is your well-wisher. Now, best friends may come and help you only in when you are unhappy or when you are distressed. But a real best friend will help you to get out of that situation, isn't it? So, Krishna is our best friend and Srila Prabhupada is our well-wisher. Srila Prabhupada has painstakingly written Bhagavad Gita in English in all the languages. We have to just take and read it. So Krishna, as I'm saying, is best friend. Now you have to analyze this. He says very openly as a best friend. So when you are distressed and when you are in very bad time, whatever your best friend says, you listen, isn't it? So we have to think ourselves and imagine ourselves. We are already in this material world, in this material situation. So already that is bad for us. What is worse? We are identifying only with the body as the doer. And more I associate myself through the body and doing more interaction with this material nature, what's happening? I'm constantly entangled. I'm creating more karma after karma after karma. So once a karma is done, I don't know what phala reaction I will get. I don't know what reaction I will get and when I will get. Generally, karma will hit you when you are old, or when you are going through financial difficulties. All that is because of your karma, because you desired, because your desire is in your control. The more you desire, the more activity you perform and more you do. So it is important for the karta, the soul, to uncover these layers. We have to discover ourselves within. We have to use the tools Srila Prabhupada has given us. We have to sit and chant the Mahamantra. Adhishthanam, one more meaning of Adhishthanam is also the place. Like I said, the place of action. Like a place. For example, when you get up in the morning, you clean your house, you do aarti, the incense and the flowers. When you see the flowers in the altar, automatically your mind becomes more happy, isn't it? You want to perform more devotional service. But the same thing, if you go to a bar or a pub, if you want to go and sit and chant there, do you think the place is favorable? No. So the place is also favorable. And at times, the time and circumstances are also adhishthanam. So one has to understand that the place also becomes favorable when you do, and that's why it is also a factor. So when you come and perform devotional service in the temple, how is it? Because the place itself is spiritual, so the place is favorable. It adds on more towards your towards your progress. Progress in what? Progress in your spiritual way. So Srila Prabhupada writes in a purport that there are two people working in a factory. One is a Krishna conscious person and other is just an ordinary worker. It is the same, every day they get up. But one person is getting up, he's doing his daily rounds, he's working, he's performing his devotional services, then goes to work. Other person, just as a mundane person, gets up, dresses up, and he has to go. He works in the factory. The other person is putting so much of effort, and he is doing. Even the Krishna conscious person, he is working, but just for the sake of working. He is not getting attached or involved too much. At the end of the day, when the salary comes, the Krishna conscious person takes and donates little bit percentage, whatever help he can do. Not a big amount, 5 pounds, 10 pounds. You just give as a donate from his salary. The other person is just enjoying, oh, my salary has come, let's go and take out. What is happening? They are both reaping the karma. But one karma where he is only taking out the takeout, he is only working for his own progress, and he is just getting up and going to work. It is going to put you in this samsara, and you are not going to achieve anything. You are going to be here in this repeated cycle of birth and death. But the same other worker who is a Krishna conscious person, he also does the same activities, but he does extra. What is he doing extra? His devotional practice, his chanting. And what is happening with his karma? His karma is going. Krishna himself is coming and making the further path. He's clearing up the path for him. That is what a true friend does. So Krishna is friend, Srila Prabhupada is our well-wisher. And Bhagavad Gita, the famous verse, Sarva dharmam parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja. Sarva dharmam. Yeah, all varieties of religion. Is he saying parityajya means abandon, just leave, Is he talking about dharma? What is he? Is he saying abandon the dharma? No, Krishna never said leave your dharma. You have to perform your dharma. What is he talking here about? All varieties of religion, isn't it? Your own concocted version. I'm a good man, but I drink, I have affairs with the married women, but I am a good man. I'm good at heart. So this is your own concocted, isn't it? So much conversion rates going in India. It's all for your own convenience. You want to eat meat, drink wine, convert. You want to marry. Have you seen all these film stars? They have actually converted themselves in order to marry another woman. Your affairs, illicit affairs. Because that is your convenience, You are using religion as a convenience. But the moment you come to Krishna consciousness, what are the 4 regulatory principles? First, Srila Prabhupada says, no meat eating, no gambling, no drinking, no illicit sex, isn't it? In fact, we have to leave tea and coffee also because they are addiction. They come under Rajas mode. So Srila Prabhupada is trying to make everyone to come to Sattva platform so that we can just transcend. So, see, following something is very difficult. Where the things comes do's and don'ts, it becomes very difficult, isn't it? But where the religion itself is allowing, it is more convenience. Like my little Narayana, I have to take his name again, he doesn't like that much to do austerity, especially Ekadashi. And he goes, oh, this Ekadashi has come again. But this time, I was actually, and every Ekadashi evening, I should say, when he goes home, because that's a ritual, he needs to open the cupboard, and his relaxation is to take some chocolate or pounce on some crisp bag or something. But this time, I was very proud of him because we had Gaura Purnima, we had Ekadashi, and immediately after 3 days, we have Gaura Purnima. So there was 2 fasting within a span of 2 days. But he controlled. He did his Ekadashi fast fully. He did try to negotiate even though on Gaura Purnima day. And he was saying, please, I fasted in Ekadashi. I said, no, Narayana. I was quite firm. No, Narayana, you have to follow. You have done till 4 o'clock. And then he somehow, and he managed. This is self-discipline. You should have the right intention and you have to motivate. You are doing it. Why? Because this austerity, you are thinking you are performing in austerity. Actually, it is your own self-disciplining. It will help you in future for your own spiritual progress. So, sarva dharmam parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja. Mamekam, only me. Sharanam, you come and surrender. Just surrender unto me. So what happens if I go and surrender? Okay, Krishna, I come, I surrender unto you, I'm only working for you. So what does Krishna is your good friend, as I'm constantly repeating again and again. Krishna openly declares, Aham Tvam Sarva papebhyo. Yeah. Krishna is not talking about your punya account. Yeah. Not at all. Papebhyo. So before coming to this body, I don't know what other body I was before that, and what all things or action I have performed in those bodies, I have absolutely no memory of. Yeah. So he is saying, I am Tvam Sarva Papebhyo. I'm going to deliver you. Mokshe Shyami. He says, I will deliver you from all your papas. Oh my God, what a good friend, isn't it? He's going to personally come and take away all your papa. And papa means sinful reactions, sinful activities. All your pavams, everything will go away. Ma Sucha means don't worry. So basically, if I have to talk in my teenage daughter's language, hey buddy, here is what I'm saying. Just work for me. You just surrender unto me. Abandon all varieties. Follow the words what I have said in Bhagavad Gita. I am here to take care of you and your worries. Please don't worry. I am here. So it is very, very, very important to align our desires with Krishna's, because he is going to take care of us. But, yeah, he's still a good friend. Why? Because if you, for example, I don't want to listen to him, it's still fine. He's friend. He will still be there. He will be sanctioning. All your desires will get sanctioned. And what will happen? You have to experience. He's actually not interested whether you have become the CEO of the company, or whether you have become a big film director, or whether you have become a big, astronaut. Now Sunita Williams is all over the place. He's not bothered. Krishna is not bothered about that. Krishna only wants you back home, back to Godhead. That's why Srila Prabhupada always insisted that whenever we do our chanting, it should be like how a baby cries for the mother. When we are chanting, we should cry loudly, "Oh Krishna, I need you. You are my mother, you are my father." So basically, he gives the choice is yours. So whether you want to come my side or you come that side, the choice is yours. He's not going to force. And he also tells Arjuna, Kaunteya pratijanahi name bhaktya pranashyati. Kaunteya, hey Arjuna, declare it boldly, like loudly. You can take a microphone and you can announce, Name bhaktya pranashyati. My devotee will never perish. Which means what? The moment we align our desires with Krishna's desires, Krishna himself is going to come and take care of us. He's going to kill all our papa. All our papa account is going to go, and he will take care of us. So the choice is yours. Thank you for listening. I now open the floor for question and answer. Hari Bol.
You said that whatever your desires are, then the Supreme Soul will give sanction to that. And you said even if you do not wish to listen to him, he will still sanction that. So what about, like, for example, like sins? Like I don't know how to explain it. Sins. How is he allowing the sanctioning of that then?
So basically, cigarette packet, have you seen? All the cigarette packet has very big, literally bold capital, and it says smoking is injurious to health. When it is clearly written, people still go and smoke. So it is it is in our nature. As I said, we have 4 defects. Yeah. So one cigarette, if I smoke, nothing will happen. I'm cheating myself because one of the defect is cheating propensity. I'm an illusion. Oh no, I'm enjoying. But are you enjoying? No, you're filling your lungs with smoke, right? And not only, you are inviting the disease, isn't it? We say smoking kills. Smoking leads to lung cancer. Smoking kills also, they say. Still people So who is where? So as I said, it is your desire. So it is people's desire to commit sin. See, he's just going to sit and sanction. He's just going to sit and sanction because you are not thinking. You are only taking 3 factors into account. Actually, in back chapters, 13th chapter, Krishna clearly explained how everything's work. So you need to constantly study. That's why I said every answer, why this is happening, why that is happening, is all in Bhagavad Gita. Thank you. The time is up. I'm quite conscious of the time. Thank you all for listening. Hare Krishna. You have come. You want to ask something? So what's on your account you don't know? So Punya account is your, Punya means your pious activities account. So Narayana, if you do a good deed, you reap Punya. That is your Punya account, good deed account. When you do a sinful activity, you reap Papam account. Yeah, your sinful activities. So both will give you fruits of the result. And based on the fruit of the result, you will be enjoying in this material world. Thank you all. Thank you all for listening. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Hare Krishna.